Greetings once again, mages out there. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with another chapter of Fairy Tale, The 100 Years Quest, where previously, the rest of Team Natsu stuck around at the bar they were at when they were attacked by Brian. Knowing that the bartender knew more than he had initially let on, they asked for more details about Fire and Flame, finding out it is a dark guild, headed by a man named Ignia. Familiar, isn't it? A man who many people know hasn't seemingly aged in quite some time. Many people know he seems not to be human, yet they do not question it for fear of retribution. At the Fire God's castle, the Signario sisters returned to Ignia, informing them about where they had been, enslaved by the gold dragon Vernon. But Ignia welcomes them back all the same, as he is finally ready to proceed with his plan. Meanwhile, Natsu manages to follow Brian and attempts to gain information on Ignia, while Brian takes an interest in Natsu's ability, and once he finds out just who Natsu is, he's determined to bring Natsu back with him. And while Natsu has no intention of going with Brian, suddenly they find themselves in a completely scorched landscape, with the town seemingly having been incinerated on the spot. What has happened? What ability was you, and whose was it? Has Natsu found himself in an utterly unwinnable situation, or is there more to what we're seeing? Join me as I find out, won't you? At Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, Chapter 158, Fire Sparring. And what a weird cover page. I mean, Warrude with Lavi was already kind of a bit odd, especially because we keep having the Wizard Saints appear on these covers. And is it just simply because we had God Serena and we wanted to reintroduce some of the Wizard Saint? Now we have someone who I am never really quite registered sometime, but had to look up their name, Draculus Haribaron. And let's be honest, outside of Warrude, Jura, Makarov, God Serena, Seagrain, or Jose, when do we really ever think about the rest of the Wizard Saint? I mean, outside of the final saga Fairy Tale, they were just, you heard about them, but God Serena came in and wrecked most of the rest of them, and it was like, okay. I really do have to wonder if there's something to Athena meeting with him, and why choose Athena? Also appreciate that Athena now looks a lot better in the form that she's now in. Although now that she's completely black, would she be the new black wizard? Or, I mean, could you still call her the white wizard? I mean, she still probably has whiteout magic and all that, but, alright, into the chapter. Enough of this tangent I'm on. Right. Natsu looks on at the fiery hellscape that now lies out before him as he questions the town? It burned to... But then he realizes something, and he says, I don't smell anything burnt. Ah, that's the clue. Brian says, whoa. Aw, you saw through it already. What the hell? And suddenly, the flames kind of invert as what was seemingly burned away reappeared, as if it was never gone to begin with. I mean, I had figured that nothing had really happened to the town. There's no way. It would have been pretty metal if it did happen, but I had just figured Natsu had been transported. But Natsu sees the town come back, saying it's back to normal? An unknown figure calls out from a building, or on top of a cactus, saying, my flames show you illusions. That's actually interesting. Their magic is still rooted in flames, but it has other abilities. What the heck? A rather crazy looking figure says, but you snuffed him out. Yeah, another member of Fire Flame. Man, these designs are wild. I don't know if I like this guy's design, though. Natsu is kind of stunned silent by the appearance of this man, as Brian calls out, Raj, he's a guest. And Raj giggles, saying, I know, I've been watching. He's the kid Ignia's looking for, right? Raj jumps from the cactus and says, hey, look, he's got pink hair. Natsu gets a little bit miffed. Raj gets up in Brian's face, saying, hey, what's that thing called? The pink prickly thing you eat. Brian says, how should I know? My tummy's full anyway. Okay, These are some weird characters. Not the kind of people I expected to be hanging out with Ignia, all things considered. And they all got a weird punk kind of vibe and aesthetic to them. Kind of makes me think of and like an 80s punk scene. Raj says, I remember Purple Sea Urchin. Brian grimaces, saying, aren't those stingy, not prickly? Raj gets up in Natsu's face and starts floofing his hair, saying, stinging, huh? You can just see Natsu getting more and more pissed. And actually, he just decks Raj in the face with a fiery punch, telling him to shut up. Oh, but the image of Raj disappears in a puff of flames, and Natsu turns to see Raj to the side laughing, saying, that was an illusion. Brian smiles, saying, we're taking him to Ignia. I gotta admit, these guys are kind of weird, but I kinda like them. They're all weirdly, just weird, jokey characters. Natsu steps forward, saying, yeah, I'll have you take me to him, but you're both pissing me off, so I'll punch you once first, okay? He smacks his hands, ready to go at it. Raj continues laughing. Punch me? Didn't you see my fire illusions? I doubt you can hit me. But Natsu breathes in and starts emanating heat. Raj still smiles through the intense flames, which is saying something. I mean, Natsu's flames have gotten so much more intense over time that he can melt even stone. So to be able to even stand that level of heat, Raj says, you're wasting your time. I can blend into my surroundings with my illusion magic. And as Raj disappears, Natsu says, I learned your smell already. And he takes a moment, but then he catches a glimpse of something. He calls out, there you are, and manages to actually hit Raj, sending him flying. Raj is sent skipping across the floor. Brian then takes a moment to say, geez, and then enlarges his hand with the mouth coming out of it, extending it towards Natsu. Oh, but Natsu has already jumped over Brian. Much to Brian's confusion, Natsu tells him, I learned how you move too. Brian's eye twitches and his hat opens up with its mouth coming out as he says, running your mouth off? Oh, and Natsu just shoves his hand right into the mouth on top of Brian's hat. Much to Brian's shock as he says, you let me eat your arm? But Natsu ignites his elbow using Fire Dragon's Flame Elbow, accelerating his punch, pretty much hitting Brian into the ground like a nail as Brian calls out, my tummy. Raj then comes up making a Spider-Man pose, saying, ha ha ha, you're good. He then uses Fire Illusion, Furious Wave, and Natsu just stands in the flames, nonplussed, and then he just consumes the fire, much to Raj's shock. And as Natsu gulps it all down, he ignites his fists and says, I said just once, but sorry, I'm gonna punch you again. He races forward, about to use flame dragons, but suddenly Raj melts into the ground. And as Natsu, oh, wait, no, not Raj melts into the ground. Something comes out of the ground, a weirdly textured flame. And as Natsu uses Iron Punch, an unknown figure, a rather badass looking unknown figure, uses Flame Shield. Catching Natsu off guard, Brian reacts in surprise as Raj calls out, Lekka! Oh. We're introduced to Fire and Flame member Lekka, who says, that's hot. Natsu says, one after another, yes, I'll punch this guy too. And he readies himself. Oh, see, I like that. Because of when Natsu and Gray kind of switched places, Gray had to use a specific kind of fire magic because he uses Maker magic and he had flame ability, so he's just like Flame Make. And now you have this guy doing Fire Make. That's kind of cool. It made me wonder if Gray had just created something or if that maybe already existed. And we're seeing, no, it already exists. As Lekka uses Fire Make, much to Natsu's shock. And Lekka brings out Flame Short Sword, producing a blade of flames. Natsu questioned, The fire version of Gray's magic, huh? But if it's fire, I can eat it all. But suddenly, Natsu is almost taken off guard as Lekka swings his sword and Natsu dodges. And as he observes the fire, he questions, what's with this fire? As he ducks under it, yeah, there's a weird texture to Lekka's flames. Is there something else mixed into it? Lekka then uses fire make Flame Lance, and a flaming protrusion erupts from the ground, consuming Natsu. And as Natsu is engulfed, he questions, why? Why can't I eat this fire? Fire that even Natsu can't eat. Huh, interesting. Lekka, while still producing the flames, turns to Brian saying, now, Brian. Brian steps forward saying, rumbly tummy. And he enlarges his hand, and with the mouth on it, he consumes Natsu, clasping his hand down around him. Will that really hold Natsu? Yeah, I guess so. Brian's hand shrinks down, and Natsu's gone. Lekka turns to walk away saying, we'll take him to the fire god's castle. Brian says, whoo, you're great, Lekka. Raj laughs, what did I get punched for? Lekka turns to Raj saying, Raj, take care of Natsu's friends. Raj gives a salute saying, okay. Lekka then tells him, but don't touch the one called Urza. Brian questions, why not? Lekka tells him, too hot. Like the way he talks. Lekka says Fire and Flame second in command. Wed wants to bury that one personally. And we see Wed, a mammoth looking of a man with a giant sword on his back, a cloak and encased in armor, stands before Urza Scarlet, ready to do battle. Ooh, this is gonna be good. I wonder who this guy could be. Why did he personally want to go after Urza? Maybe some mystery relation? Maybe someone she's fought in the past? See, that's the funny thing. Because of, I forget the dude's ability, who could make illusions of people that Urza had killed, we know that Urza doesn't really spare a lot of her opponents. Not all of them die, but not many of them live. But I can't remember Urza taking on someone with a big sword. Oddly enough, I mean, she's taken on plenty of swordsmen, but not as many as I would have thought, all things considered. And why would the second in command want to take her on specifically? I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expected to run into the Signario sisters again. But we have Wed, Lekka, Brian, and Ra. It's interesting to have something just completely themed around fire, though. Not saying that's a bad thing, but normally we don't really have many guilds that are like themed just around fire-based magic or a specific elemental type of magic. I mean, except for maybe dark magic, but even dark magic could have so many variety of properties. It's weird to see it with something like fire, though. Not saying that it's unheard of, but I mean, not to mention, does that mean the Signario... I feel like I've asked this question before. Do the Signario sisters also have weird types of fire magic? But even then, Brian, he produces mouths all over his body. Yeah, he can breathe fire, but is that just it? Mouths to also breathe fire? Raj has his fiery illusions, and then Lekka has fire make magic. It's so interesting to finally be going up against someone after we were just introduced to fire make magic, though. I wonder what it is about fire make that makes it so that Natsu can't eat it, though. I feel as though maybe Lekka, however you pronounce his name, maybe he incorporates something in it when he produces it. Well, this has been fun, though. I'm still not getting like final story arc vibes, so it still leaves me wondering if maybe there's something after we deal with Ignia. There has to be. No way Ignia is the final villain. I really will be shocked if it's just like Ignia and then that's it. But we'll just have to wait and see. What are you thinking about these fire mages so far? They're interesting. It's just, I'm not quite getting that sense of true menace. When we first were kind of introduced to Brian, it's just like, okay, maybe there's something to him. But there is the fact that Natsu knows well enough, don't just shoot off fire because we see that Brian can consume it. Use his physicality. That can help deal with whatever Brian and the like can bring. You know, you actually got to see Natsu's strategic abilities in battle. Raj, you gotta follow your nose. Brian, you gotta go more with physical attacks. And when you attack, commit to it, because if you're caught off guard by his big mouths, he can catch you off guard by just the weirdness of the mouth and really get a real big attack on you. Natsu couldn't figure out Laka's, so I feel that once Natsu figures that one out, and I feel like he's going to be determined, I wonder how many more members will be introduced to. Because unlike with the Gold Owl Guild, these guys feel defeatable. There's nothing about their abilities that feel like you can't figure some way around it. Unlike with the Steam Alchemy, it's just like, how do you counter that? Or the Signario Sisters ability where they could literally turn you into something that couldn't use magic. It's like, okay, how do you get around that? It was simply just by them not using those abilities. But here, they tag team Natsu and they got one over on him. It also helps that Natsu was more interested in information than fully knocking them out. So there also is that to consider as well. So now you have Raj going after everyone else, but I'm more interested in that face-off with Wed. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.